All right, welcome to 11-1. We're going to start talking about negative and positive numbers, okay? So an integer is any number that is whole and is positive or negative. So negative 100, negative a million, a billion, all right? Those are all integers, but something like 1.5, 1.25, 1.7, those are not integers, okay? So when talking about positive and negative numbers, we've got to kind of talk about some of the words that you're going to see associated with a positive number or associated with a negative number. So if you see the word gain, increase, above, positive, it means you're getting more. You're adding positive numbers, okay? So if I said that I gained $20, all right, then that means that I increased. That means I got more of. So I added a positive amount of money to my wallet or bank account or whatever it may be. Decrease is below, negative, subtract, take away, lost. Those all mean getting less or adding negative numbers. So let's say that I took away 40 feet from my room. Then that means that I lost 40 feet. Or let's say that I am below sea level. Then that means that where the sea meets the land, it means that wherever I'm at, I'm below that point. Okay. If I have if it's negative 5 degrees outside, that means that it's below zero. It's below. It's less than zero outside. Okay. So when looking at some problems, like on number 1, gain 20 yards, how would I write that? Well, I would write it as plus 20 yards. Okay? So I'd put the plus sign in front of it to show that I'm increasing, and then by how much. And don't forget your units. You always want your units. Okay? Number 2, spend $75. So that means that if I had $75 and now that I've bought something, that means that I've lost $75. So that means I would write it as a negative $75. Number 3, 10 feet below sea level. How would I write that? Well, 10 feet, you look at below, that means that it's negative, so therefore minus 10 feet. Okay? So spend was the reference on number 2 to show that it was negative. Gain was the reference to show that it was positive. And then on number 3, negative because of the word below. All right? So when you are graphing positive and negative numbers are opposites. So if I said, what is the opposite of positive 10? Well, the opposite would be the negative form of that then, which would be negative 10. So on number 4, the numbers that are plotted on the point in red are opposites. You've got negative 4 and positive 4. So if I asked you to plot the opposites of negative 2, well, negative 2 you would plot on there, and then the opposite of that then would be positive 2. Now why you need to know that is when talking about something called an absolute value. Now an absolute value is a number's distance from 0. So if I said, how far from 0 is 7? Well, the distance from 0 is 7 because you would go 1 place, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places to get to 7 on the number line. Well, what if I said, what is the opposite of negative 6? Well, that'd be positive 6. Okay? What if I said, what is the distance from 0 of negative 6? Well, it'd be negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, and 0. Or you could even say negative 6, and then that. So the distance from negative 6 to 0 is positive 6, or just 6. So looking at 5, 6, and 7, you need to find the absolute value. These bars here are the absolute value signs. So the absolute value is showing you, okay, in between these bars, what is that value's distance from 0? So what is the absolute value of negative 5 is saying what is the distance of negative 5 from 0? Well, it's 5. Same thing with this. In between the absolute values, what is the distance of what's in between the bars from 0? Well, that's 50, so it's 50 away. And if you want to see mathematically what that means is okay, what is the distance from negative 5, whoops, wrote that wrong, the distance from 0? Well, you would say 0 minus a negative 5. And we haven't got here yet, but that would be positive 5. Or here, 50 minus 0 is 50. Okay? Same thing here. Negative 50. What is the distance of negative 50 from 0? Well, it's 50. So just know that whatever's in here, in between the lines, whatever the value is, just take the positive or negative away and just write the number. Okay? So 5, 50, 50. Okay? 5, 50, 50. Okay? Absolute value is really easy. Drop the absolute value and drop the sign. And that is the distance from 0.